Hello and welcome. You are watching News9 Live. I am Krishna Kumar. One of the stalwarts of Indian cinema from the southern Indian state of Kerala, from the Malayalam film industry, Innocent, passed away after a long battle with cancer last evening. Innocent had acted in hundreds of Malayalam films as well as in other languages including Tamil, Kannada, Hindi and English as well, and was noted for his timeless acting in varied characters, mainly comic, but he has done everything from comedy to being a villain as well. To understand his contributions to the silver screen and to the art of cinema, we have with us Mr. Ajit Vijay Kumar, my colleague from News9, joining us. Ajit, thank you so much for being with us here. Let's remember this legend called Innocent. I mean, it's so sad that he's passed away, but it's a good time then for us to tell the people who don't know about him as well as to what a legend he was. Talk to us in terms of, what made him special the most.
Right, so it's very difficult to summarize someone like Innocent in one or two words. He was certainly a stalwart and a superstar when it comes to Malayalam cinema. Not just Malayalam cinema, as you said, that his contribution should be looked at more from an angle of Indian cinema and what he has done for Indian cinema. To coming to Innocent as a actor, I would say what defines him in common sense and how people perceive him as a more of an comedian. But I would say that he was much more than a comedian. He was a superb character actor. He was, during the 80s and 90s, he started his career in 1972 and he acted in over 700 films over this five decades in cinema. But the 80s and 90s were when he, along with a lot of eight or 10 other superstars, and when I say superstars in Malayalam cinema, superstars are not superstars as it's in as is in Bollywood. Superstars are more of character actors who actually pulled the cinema together. So Innocent, along with others like Jairam Ravi and others there, and
no, many, but especially his films, his combination with Laletan, with Mohanlal. That is the legend combination of Innocent and Laletan across many movies in 90s and across not just Laletan. He's worked with all legends over there. But I really want to take this discussion further, from movies, because we're talking about Mr. Innocent, who was an MP from Chalakudi constituency. He was a politician as well. Talk to us about his foray in politics.
Right. So I would say that politics came to Innocent by chance. I think he was not a politician at heart. Of course, he was left-leaning and he contested as an independent candidate with left backing and won the Chalakudi Lok Sabha constituency in 2014. And prior to that also he was part of the municipal corporation early in 80s as well. But we should not primarily look at it from a political angle, because he was, as I said, he was
and the reluctant politician.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, right. So his contribution is more to the society at large, I would say. And as you say that Malayalis and people in Kerala and their sense of humor is quite different from how people perceive humor generally in India.
I'm from Chennai, I'm from Tamil Nadu, which is nearby, and I know how different the Malayali humor is, how subtle that humor is, and a legend like Innocent is like an epitome of that Malayali humor, quintessential Malayali humor.
The thing is that Malayali humor is more about satire and sarcasm and how you can make it mainstream. And Innocent certainly was a class apart. And he was someone who actually defined it in the 80s and 90s, I would say.
Okay. At this stage, if I were to ask, which was the best performance according to you from the golden days of the 80s and the 90s?
Quite difficult to pick one for someone like Innocent.
Okay, pick three. Pick the ones that come to your mind first.
I would certainly want to suggest, there was this movie called as Manar Mattai Speaking. And I'm, mentioning this movie for a reason, because the Hindi remake of it is what we know, and the whole Babu Bhaiya cult that was built in Hindi, he was the original Babu Bhaiya, right? So that's what he did to cinema, at large. And then in 70s, as you rightly said, that he had great comic timing when it came to superstar like Mohanlal. And they did
in India much before Munna Bhai and other things came around. Naduri Katte, Akre Akre, and that entire series that began with Naduri Katte, the original legend. Innocent was there. Talk to us, in terms of his later work. What were your perceptions of his much later work, in his life?
So eventually what happened was that he actually made a mark for himself as an actor and actor of real consequence in the 80s and 90s. And for the actors and generation that came after that in Malayalam cinema, I think he emerged as a father figure, someone who could go to for all and everything, and that's possibly the reason that he was the president of the Association of the cine actors for 12 straight years, right? For 4 consecutive terms, and that's why the kind of outpouring that you see and a lot of actors being not able to even absorb that he's no more is kind of suggestive of the tall stature that he had within his fraternity.
So, and same with the people of Kerala as well, Malayalis, in Kerala and across the world, when on a bad day they all watched an innocent comedy scene, to go to sleep, happy. That's the kind of attachment that Malayalis have with innocent, isn't it?
Right, of course, and talking about innocent and the kind of roles that he played and the perfect calming timing that he had, and he was the actual king of one-liners, I would say. And he would take a normal scene to that stratospheric level where you would have ache in your stomach laughing, but then you can't stop. That kind of a range that he have in terms of getting you off the table in terms of comedy, pure comedy.
But tell us, how is it that the people of Kerala have loved him both as a comedian and as a villain? Here is somebody who's done the full spectrum.
No, so that's what Innocent had one very good streak in him, and that was that he could lace villain roles or being being unkind with comedy. And that's not something that many actors, I would say that even at a global scale, not many actors can actually do that. That someone is being villainous, but you kind of love him, right? So that's Innocent, right? So that's Innocent, and eventually in his later years, I would say that post his battle with cancer and interestingly and sadly so, he along with his wife both were diagnosed with cancer in 2012. And he kind of survived it, and in 2015 he kind of came out and said that he's past that phase. But what he did importantly is that he wrote a full book, a kind of memoir in terms of how he felt and what was the journey like, and that gives us so many shades of him in terms of a battle-hardened survivor who knew that adversaries will come in life, but one has to kind of overcome with comedy possibly.
He lived that philosophy, isn't it? And also, Innocent was also somebody who made sure the prominent social themes were represented in cinema. That's a huge part of his own contribution to cinema per se, isn't it?
Of course. As I said, 700 movies, so you can imagine the scale of his work, right?
Yeah.
His scale of work is immense.
The volume of
work and the kind of roles that he has taken up during his illustrious career is unmatchable. One notable example I would like to give is in one of his movies, he played a North Indian politician, right? And his very famous line, and that is something that is being spoken in Malayali homes even today, is that he's saying "Naril pani lao" in kind of trying to suggest, and the people there are not able to understand as to what is he trying to suggest, right? People think that he's asking for booze. So he was and just not his body of work in cinema. I think he was also a great philanthropist and someone who kind of defined a way of living in the sense
of. He gave back to society as much as he got, as much as the love he got from society.
Of course, and as I said, post his cancer phase, right? That's when he kind of got more evolved in terms of wanting to give back to the society, and also his journey through that cancer phase and the book he wrote, I think he titled it as "Laughter in the Cancer Ward," right? So he kind of explained everything and suggested the way out, that eventually adversity, all this will come to us in life, but how is that we deal with it is what matters, and that is how he lived his life.
Right, and with that, I'm afraid we've run out of time here on this discussion. But here's to the legend Innocent. Rest in peace, Innocent. Thank you, Ajit, for joining us on this discussion. With that, it's a wrap here on this edition of News 9 Live. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it with News 9. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.